That song that you just heard is Money, Money, Money from Mamma Mia. And that song is basically like fantasizing about money. How you can do all these things and how you can meet this person with money, and how rich people take it for granted and how they don't take it so seriously. Like the lyrics say, it must be funny in a rich man's world. Meaning that they just kind of, laugh. Money? I have so much money that, I don't need to, any money. I have all the money. So that's kind of what the song is saying. It's like this longing for more money. And don't we all long for more money? Don't we all want more money? Well, today's conversation is partially, a huge part of it is about money, because today I'm going to be talking about a placement that I have in my natal birth chart, and I I have a lot of compassion for this placement and have a lot of compassion for those who have this placement, and I want to deliver this message in a compassionate way, if I can, in a real authentic way. And the placement is Neptune in the second house, which is what I'm going to be discussing today. Now, I've decided to change how I do these podcasts. I've just decided, well, you know what? I just enjoy doing videos so much. If I feel like it, I'm going to come on and do a podcast episode during the week. I'll still do the planned stuff during the weekend, but if I feel like it, I'll come on and do something. Because there's a lot of videos I want to share and a lot of things I want to talk about. I don't want to have to wait week after week after week to do it. I just want to do it when I feel like it for some of it. So, the other thing about that is, trying to think what I was going to say here. What was the other thing? I can't think of it now. I'm just going to let it, slip. But, I'm, producing this, because I want to during, the week, I won't do it in I won't try to, go at all the placements that I want to do at once, because I am a Taurus North Node, and that's going to tie in a lot to this conversation. I'm going to tell you right now. But the thing I want to talk about right now about it is going slow, taking your time. So I meant to go slow, not be compulsive over how I do these videos. I do these podcasts. To just be so obsessive in the way of you gotta get this done. I have all these ideas and I want to get this done. No. The Taurus North Node way is doing something that's aligned with your values when you feel it's right, taking your time and enjoying it. And when you're rushing and you're intensely going at it all in, you're not enjoying it. It's not fun. Is it fun to do that? I don't think so. So I'm not going to do that. I have ideas, and I'm going to do it when I feel like it during the week. Because I want to add to this vastness of Google Podcast, and I want to make and produce more videos for you. So today's conversation is about money and deluding yourself about money, and I have some things to say about this because I have Neptune in the second house and I have the North Node in Taurus. In the fifth house. So these two things just go together, and they're just going to flow and tie together in a beautiful tapestry of what I want to talk about. So, I just want to briefly talk about my North Node placement, because this is important to tie into this conversation. The North Node in Taurus is about it's about self-worth. It is about now, if I, because I made the video, I paused it, got up and turned the light on. So if it did cut off, then, oh well, it cut off. I'm not going to restart it over again. So anyway, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not restarting videos over again. So the North Node in Taurus is about your sense of self-worth. And if you have the North Node in the second house, your relationship to money is very, very important. You're meant to acquire your own money in this lifetime. You're meant to gather your resources and develop a sense of self-worth. My North Node is in the fifth house, which is creativity, what you do creatively, creative projects. And North Node and Taurus in the fifth house is I'm doing things that are creative, that are aligned with my values, and doing it in a way where it's slow and steady, and where it's not me, just rushing and going all in, but doing it when I feel it's right, and doing it in a balanced way where you are moderating yourself. And I don't mean moderating myself like, not moderating yourself is the Scorpio South Node going at something all intensely, one thing after another thing, and burning yourself out because of all those videos. Okay, that's not moderating yourself. Moderating yourself is by basically taking yourself and saying, I am going to make this choice to only do it in a way where it's slow, it's steady. I am not rushing myself. I'm not throwing myself into a lot of things in an intense way. That's moderating yourself. I just wanted to clarify that. I don't know if I explained that very, very well. I don't, I don't feel like my memory is as sharp today. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. I just feel like my memory is just not as quick as it usually is today. In particular, the day that I'm the day that I'm filming this recording this video on March 16th, 2026. So I thought I might bring that up. So now let's delve into this. Now, basically, Neptune in the second house brings about, I'm just going to give you kind of a little synopsis of what this is about. It put the fog machine on what you value in money, because this is all second house matters, is, value and money. It puts an unclear influence on what's important to you, what matters to you, what you decide to act upon, and you're not seeing your values clearly. Like, you're not clear about your values. So in this life, I have Neptune in the second house. My North Node is in Taurus, so I am getting clear on what I value in this life. So, this is, I just find this so interesting about my chart. Like, North Node in Taurus, Neptune the second. It's so interesting to me, because Neptune's just so spiritual, and it dissolves whatever it touches, and the second house is money, and then I'm supposed to be moving toward that. So it's just, the fact that I have this in my chart is just fascinating to me. But so you're not seeing what you value clearly. You're not seeing it objectively for what it is. Because Neptune is what you're not seeing clearly. It also looks at what you're unconscious of. And I'm going to get into Neptune a little bit later. Now, the second house is the house of your sense of self-worth. Your sense of feeling good about yourself, and your sense of all of that. So self-worth is like, you are worthy of love and, possessions and things in life, regardless of what the outside world is about, regardless of what you do in the outside world, and if you shouldn't succeed in the outside world. So, there's a lot of things to go into with self-worth, but that's what it basically is self-worth. It rules resources, like material resources, and it looks at your values. Like getting clear on your personal values is one of the biggest lessons of the Taurus North Node, and one of the biggest lessons on Neptune the second house. So these two kind of go together. Like having a Scorpio South Node and Neptune in the second house, they go together in tandem, which is why I bring it up. And you can check out my video on the Taurus North Node, Scorpio South Node, to find a more in-depth explanation of that I did, a podcast episode of that on this podcast, The Essence of Google, a couple weeks ago. A week ago, I think. So, Neptune blurs reality. It blurs reality. With Neptunian energy, you're not seeing things as clearly as you usually would. You're not seeing things as fully as you would normally. So, your vision is blurred, and you're not seeing things clearly. You're just not seeing things clearly. You're not clear on what you value, on what the things that you own, your possessions, and money. Neptunian energy wants to go beyond the mundane. Beyond just the day-to-day average. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you go to work, you do all these things, like, the mundane world that we live in. And it looks at the illusions of self. You're not seeing yourself clearly. The illusions that you feel about yourself, that you think about yourself, that you fantasize about yourself, that are not true. Like Neptune, you can get swept up in a dream, swept up in a fantasy with Neptune energy, and you cannot see things so clearly. Just basically you're in your head and you're fantasizing. It's kind of like, an example of this is like Florence Foster Jenkins, I think. She thought that her voice was just the most incredible voice, but everybody heard it and was like, flat and not very, very good. So she was deluding herself about, deluding herself in an illusion that her voice was just so excellent, but it really was not that great. So that's just, because of her ear and, her medical things that went along with that. So, So this is about the intangible. Neptune is what you can't see. It goes beyond the material, physical, taste, touch, smell, see, hear, reality. It goes beyond that part of it. It goes beyond what that's all about. And it looks at unrealistic expectations. Like having these high expectations of, oh, I want to go to this place and I want to own a whole chocolate factory and I want humans to be able to fly and I want all these kind of things like that. Like unrealistic high expectations that are not grounded in reality. When it comes to expectations, you have to be realistic about these expectations, because likely if you have so high expectations, it's very, very likely, almost a guarantee, that they're not going to be fulfilled, because that's not how this 3D reality works. So, and I want to call it 3D reality and not just reality. Because reality is an illusion. Reality is a perception. We all have our own different realities that we live in through different perspectives. And so that's a very, very important lesson when it comes to Neptune. Now, the second house is also our basic survival needs. What we need to survive. Food, clothes, a roof over our head, nice warmth in our bodies, money in this world that we live in today. So all of those survival needs of the body and of, well, I hate to break it to you, but, society. I hate saying it. And there's going to be some things that I'm going to talk about in this video that I'm uncomfortable with, that I am resistant to. Like, as I was preparing for this video, I was like, ugh, I'm a little bit uncomfortable sharing all this stuff because I'm just so resistant to it. I am just so resistant to, this whole thing, like a lot of what this is about. Becoming not so resistant to some aspects of it, but really resistant to other aspects of it. Kind of, as I was preparing, I was kind of like, okay, so now I'm going to say all this, and, I'm going to try to phrase it in a way and say it in a way where it's not preachy, where it's not me going against how I would want to say it from my heart. I'm going to try to be compassionate and gentle with you about this placement because I just have some strong feelings about it. So, okay, so the second house is our basic survival needs. The second house shows what you need to feel secure. What you need to feel secure externally. Your material security, as well as your internal security, your security inside yourself, your inner security, your inner peace, and how to approach attaining that security. The second house shows whatever. Let's say you have placements in the second house that shows you, how you attain that security. And so I have Neptune and Aquarius in the second house. And so it would be very humanitarian, very giving to the masses, very, wanting to be very, for the good of all, and very, idealistic when it comes to how I approach this placement. So the sign also tells you a lot, but when it comes to the other planets, you do want to look to the houses more than the placements, because those other planets stay in signs for very, very long, and not all of us are born under those signs. So the houses, are more important for that. So eventually I'll do a whole series on Neptune through the houses. I just wanted to film this one because it's my own and I'm very, very interested in it. I'll get my permission to film things. I may just film videos, just any random astrology placement, that may not be in the series, because that's just what I want to film. But I will plan on doing a series on a later date. I have a list of videos. So, anyway, I'm filming this one now. So, alright. So, money value and stability may shift. With this. There's a change in money. There's a change in how you earn money, how you make money. Now, I am not the most educated in these terms of money. And I barely know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, because I'm just so resistant to it that I haven't looked into it enough to really research it. And I want to be real about that with you. So, and please don't send me any judgmental comments about this. Because I will explain it all in this video. So, money value and stability may shift. That is very, very important. Now, this brings about magic, sensitivity, and confusion. That's other Neptune terms. So, the second house is, what defines your self-worth. What gives away your self-worth. What makes you feel an inner sense of feeling good about yourself. Feeling like you are worthy to deserve all this, these food, this achievement, these people in your life. What gives you that sense of self-worth? What do you do in your life that gives you that sense of self-worth? And your material needs being met. So that's also part of it. Now, this placement can go one of two ways. You can either, overspend and get caught up in, oh, I want the richest house, and I want the, the best car, and I want the, the best, luxury hotel, luxury yacht for two, and luxury, pavilion on a Mount Everest. Deluding yourself into fantasies about money that are unrealistic, that you don't have enough money. Well, you won't have enough money to be able to buy all these things. Okay, so you're deluding yourself into that fantasy with wanting to just have so much money that you don't know what to do with yourself, so that you can live out these fantasies in your head. It's like something that won't get delivered, like the glass castle. How the man in the glass castle had this fantasy of an idea, but it never materialized. It's kind of like this, how you have these plans with money and they just don't materialize. Or, and I fall in this category, you want to just have nothing to do with money. You're just like, nope, I don't want to associate with it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't like it. I just, it makes you cringe to hear about money. It makes you, you just kind of feel a yuck feeling. And just whenever you hear the word money or learn about it, you're like, putting up a boundary, back off, putting up a boundary. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's the other way that it can go. Taurus is the sign that corresponds to the second house. And Taurus is about material security. It is concerned with the material world and material security. And it's also boundaries, because Earth is boundaries. Taurus has very, very strong boundaries. This Taurus North Node, one of the lessons is having, knowing where you end and others begin, where you're not so caught up in other people's values and money and business and all the kind of things like that. And with the Scorpio South Node and the 8th house, it could deal with other resources, other people's money, banks, hedge funds, if I'm getting that right, big institutions, shared inherited money. The second house is about money you earn through a paycheck, through you getting money on, like I get my money on my phone now. So, like going to a job and, having a career, having a profession, and you actually earning that money, because it's also about your own sense of self-worth. So the second and 8th house is the wealth axis in terms of the houses. So, Taurus is about boundaries, not getting so caught up in, others' money and other things, but having boundaries between yourself and others. Neptune is not like this, because Neptune has no boundaries at all. It dissolves boundaries. Now, when it comes to wealth with this placement, this is what I'll say, is that you believe that wealth should be an inner experience. I just want to tell you a story about this, and not the side of the story that I told in my North Node and Gemini podcast. I just want to tell you the reasoning behind why I did this is because this lady was monetizing for her, for her videos on a membership that she had, and I was like so resistant to, her having her membership, because she was paying for those videos, monetizing for those videos. I'm just resistant to anything just having a price tag to it, or I'm just I just like, I do not have too many financial bones in my body. Let me just tell you that much right now. My body is pretty flabby and pretty limited when it comes to financial bones. I may have one very small one. I don't want to make it too confusing. Let's just say I don't have any financial bones, in my body at all. And I'm trying to build up those muscles and build up those bones in my life. And so, okay. So you believe that wealth should be an inner experience. An inner experience, not so much an outer experience deep down. And there's a paradox to this, and I'll get into that later. But it's about vision inside of you. It's about having trust that you will get the money that you need. They'll have all the resources that you need. That you get the the ducks to the pond, and you'll all be swimming around in the water and whatever, and doing what they need to do, and making everything work in that way. So, in spiritual pursuit, okay. So I remember what I was saying before. So she was monetizing for these videos. And I was like so resistant, like, why aren't they free? Like, I'm just so against things that are not free. I'm just, and I think that we all are, but I'm just especially with this placement, I'm just like, I've tried to understand why money is important and why money matters and why money even exists and why money is a thing. Like I've tried to, like, I've spent a lot of my life thinking about this. And it's like something I just wanted to just put on the back burner, just hide under, brush under the carpet. That's how I've thought of and approached money in my life, is that kind of mindset with money. And so, just when I just think that, and they say kindness should be free. The best things in life are free, and I think that if you fall on this side of the spectrum, with Neptune in the second house, you will believe that probably in your heart of hearts that the best things in life are free. And there is a lesson with money that it cannot buy happiness. Money cannot buy happiness. Money does make your life a whole heck of a lot easier. Just because of the three-dimensional world that we live in. But money cannot bring you happiness. Maybe the things that you earn with money can bring you happiness, but then it goes beyond the material possessions, and this placement goes beyond the material. So wealth is on an inner level. Just with this placement astrologically, with this placement, that kind of tells me, like, I would believe in wealth in spiritual ways as opposed to not money. Like, I understand, like, making money and earning a sense of self-worth through that. I've come to understand that, but just the whole outside materialistic budget, income, banking account, whatever, getting into the minutia of just money and all of that stuff. I'm like, no, it should be an internal feeling, and it should be a spiritual thing that you experience, and it should be something that reflected on your own self-worth, not something externally that you have to do just to survive and, live in this reality. I have to form new associations around money, and I want to paint this picture in a way that's true for me. I don't want to preach and say you have to, spend and do all this mundane stuff when I don't believe in that. So I want to try to paint this picture in a way that feels gentle, that feels inviting, that feels supportive to me when I talk about all this stuff. So, moving on. There's something about this where your worth cannot be measured by what you own materially. All those material all those material possessions do not equal your worth. And, that's what the North Node in Scorpio is learning. So this is kind of a little bit of both North Node in Taurus, North Node in Scorpio. It's kind of, they're opposite. Whereas the North Node in Taurus is, leading into, the material world and, your values and all that kind of stuff. The North Node in Scorpio is about, it's about, in this case, getting out of your stagnant values that are very, very tight and very rigid and very old school, and expanding your soul and expanding your mind and being open to growth in terms of getting outside of your small little, world and getting out there and seeing that all these material possessions don't equal inner self-worth. So in this lifetime, you are, for Scorpio North Node, you are redefining your sense of self-worth, your sense of value. And yes, you'll probably be pretty darn, happy with what you own, but you are learning to not be so emotionally, at worst, Taurus can be just so emotionally, physically attached to what it's own. The North Node in Scorpio is about not being so attached to that. So, you're redefining self-worth in this lifetime. But by your inner sense of self-worth. Self-worth is an inner thing. It cannot be measured by, net worth and, or, external resources. It's an inner feeling. Self-worth is an inner state of being. That's what I want to say to this. Now, this is just a small part of your chart. You have to take the other parts of your chart into consideration. You also have to look at the aspects of your chart that may look at this. So, self-worth is often something that, is for you very intuitive, very spiritual. It comes from an inner level that is not based on, oh my gosh. I could just go on a whole, rant about how I'm just resistant to the rational, logical, left brain, realistic side of money. I want, if you're going to talk about money and you're talking to me, please tie it into something spiritual. Please be spiritual about it. Please, make it, I want to talk about it as if it's a spiritual thing, has spiritual meaning. Like, if somebody talks about it and goes into all these terms and all these things that I know nothing about, and all these, the minutia of all these terms about money and how hard it is and how, you need to do this with it, you need to do that with it. No. How is it a spiritual thing? How does it apply to me in my life? And how would it make me feel good on an inner level? That's what I want to know. If it's not that, I don't want to hear it. Because I'm just... So I will agree with and be on the side of money if it has that spiritual side to it. If it has that actually meaningful side to it. It's not just, this is something that you have to do, even if it's not true for you. Like, no. So, you value things on a spiritual level. The things that you value, you feel it internally, you feel it intuitively. You have spiritual associations to those values. That's kind of, who you are with, valuing things, in a way which is spiritually correct for you. Spiritually, you don't view things with the material mindset through the material lens. You view things through a spiritual lens. You view things in that way. So you view things in a very, very, personal lens. You want money to have some kind of meaning to it. You want money to have some kind of, higher purpose to it. Higher ideal, higher spiritual meaning. Like, that is for me. Like, if it does not have a meaning and a purpose that is spiritually aligned with me, I don't care about it. Because I just... outside in, not inside out. Like, no. I just have built up this wall to money in my life. And the only way that I'm going to be able to open up that wall is if it is meaningful to me, and if it gives me a sense of self-worth, and if it has a higher spiritual purpose to it. Otherwise, I don't care about it. If money didn't give you that spiritual purpose, that material, purpose, or that higher meaning, or that sense of self-worth, then I would not care about it at all. I'm to be flat out honest with you on that. So connection with something great, as it says here, connection with something greater than yourself is spirituality. That's how you also want to think about it. Yeah, money makes you more aware of yourself. So I thought I might clarify that for you in a way, in that particular way. Okay. So, all right. So, now also, you may very well underestimate your talents. You may, really, really, may think, and I think that this is, part of, well, this is what I used to do. I mean, I have Jupiter and Virgo, so I'm so modest. Maybe another thing with this is like, you may be so good at something, but you just don't want to take the credit for it. Like, you don't want to, like, when somebody compliments you, you're like, oh, well, I'm not that great at that. And I'm not that good at that. I'm actually not very good at that. There's somebody else that's way better than me than that. I'm like, you don't want to take credit and claim and own these talents. Which these talents really, really make you who you are. Make you a unique, special individual. And so can you claim and own these talents as your own? And another thing is you may give too much. You may just give too many things. Giving away so many so many of your material possessions and money. Like, at best, this placement can be very, very compassionate. With, like, I'm giving all my resources, I'm sharing all my resources out of compassion. But at worst, it can be, I'm giving way too much, I'm overextending myself. And then you're just not clear about your sense of self-worth. And this is the part that I do agree with this placement, is being clear on your sense of self-worth. Finding clarity on your inner sense of self-worth and peace. That's what I agree with this placement. So if you have this placement and you're unsure about your self-worth, about your own sense of inner worth, then this life you are working to become more clear on that. And fortunately for me, that's my North Node. So becoming very, very clear, which is not about money, it's about self-worth. So whatever gives me self-worth, and I think I mentioned money in my Taurus North Node podcast. So so your value is measured by intention, like you intend to have this and you tend to live this kind of life, and spiritual connection to something greater. You may give too much to others, as I said before, and this is about redefining your relationship with money, with love and money, through inner security and intuition. Like, for you, it has got to not be external, it has to be inner experience, and this is how you can, if you have this place, but this is how you can really open up to money, is by looking at it through, this gives me inner security, as opposed to just external security, like what I need to survive. This makes me feel secure about myself, about my sense of self-worth. This makes me feel good about myself, about my self-worth. So, intuition. So, feeling it right in your intuition. And maybe I should do a whole video on money and spirituality, because I just feel so passionate about this. But this is kind of that video. It's one of those videos. So anyway, so the wealth is not necessarily based off of what you own. It's not about what you own, but how connected you feel to what you have to give. It's not about the thing itself, it's about your connection, your spiritual connection, and how you feel and how you view that thing. Your association with it. It could be that. Also, now you may be, there's this lack of clarity here. There's a lack of clarity and unpredictable financial situation with this. So, okay. Okay. If you have this placement, it's very, very likely that you will run into some problems with your finances. Sad. Tough. I know. I'm with you. If we don't want to deal with these financial matters, I'm right there with you. This may be a potential issue. Is becoming unclear. It's just becoming, you're not clear around your finances, and the situations may be foggy, you may not be seeing things clearly, and it may be unpredictable. Like, you may gain money, you may lose it, you may gain money, you may lose it. So, there's problems with money, like money issues. And Neptune dissolves whatever it touches, and if it's money, in this case, the material possessions, that's what Neptune is going to just like, it's there and then it's just gone. You don't see it anymore. It doesn't exist. It doesn't have any value at all. There may be difficulties with keeping finances together, with being able to maintain finances. I can already feel this already. I mean, I have not read... good thing I'm making this right now in my life. Because I can just see it now. I can see it now. Like, I can see myself literally having problems with money right now as I speak. Like, I can see myself struggling to keep my finances together, struggling to keep track of my finances, keep track of all that money, put it in a checking account, do all the technical things, which I don't want to go into because, again, that's not, my wheelhouse of vocabulary there. But I could just see myself having these problems, having these difficulties, and let me tell you, I just want to dream about it. I just do not want to go through this. Wow, this is huge. Yeah, I did say I was going to feel very uncomfortable doing this. I feel uncomfortable when I think about money and all these kind of things like that. Like, just wow. Just me struggling with finances, struggling with having financial troubles, losing money, gaining money, whatever the financial situation is. I mean, I have to meditate. I have to do my spiritual practice. I will consult my oracle cards, do whatever to get myself to find peace within myself, to deal with these problems in my life if they should come out, because I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope, not going there at all. No. I can't. I just cannot with that. So, they may choose to work in... Okay, so this is another thing with Neptune in the second house. Is that... How long have I been on here? Ooh, this is going to be long. So, they may choose... for those with this placement, you may not be in business or in a 9-to-5 job. Like, oh my gosh, sitting at a desk, mundane details, 9-to-5 job. No, thank you. There's plenty of people who want to sit at the desk and do all that work. Not me. Definitely not. Fields, if you're pursuing a field, if you're pursuing work in your life that's going to gain you money, and I mean, I think that my dad has Neptune in the 10th house. I mean, we have several things in common. We're both fire signs, air moons. We have Saturn and water signs. And I think that we have Neptune in earth houses. I have Neptune in the 2nd. I believe that he has Neptune in the 10th. And Neptune in the 10th is like, just this thing, like with work. You just, you get around to work very, very late in life, or you're just very, very, resistant to work, or, you just don't want to have anything to do with, your work, but it's like something that you have to do and that you have to succumb to. I mean, this is, Neptune in the 10th, this is some of those themes of Neptune in the 10th. So, so these fields that you work in with money have to align with your higher purpose, and then maybe, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I really, my heart goes out to those with this placement, because I live with this placement. Okay. Guess what? You do not have to work in fields that are not aligned with your personal values, with what you want for yourself on a spiritual, internal level. You do not have to be in that situation if you feel below it, or you feel drained by it, or you feel like you don't want to have anything to do with it. You can be in artistic and creative fields that have money. Like you can do that. And that is the way to go with this placement, is to live a life where you are in fields that serve your higher purpose, that have money. So that's how you can feel a good sense of self-worth about yourself, is by being in creative and artistic fields that pay. Okay, that's what I'm saying, is that you enjoy the work itself, whatever it is. It may be what I'm doing right now with YouTube, it may be all the kind of stuff, but it also pays. It also gives you money. And that's like a bonus. Like, I work and I enjoy the experience, it feels true for me, but then I get the money. Now I have all this money and I feel so good about myself because I have resources to be able to buy the things that my soul really wants to buy. So, so what if they don't pay well? What if they don't pay well? They pay and it feels true for you. That's what I want to say from my heart about this. So the thing about this placement is, they need validation. That is external validation. Also, like, they may define self-worth and value through the outside world. May define all their world through that, thing going on. There may be outside factors to prove their worth. Well, you may need to rely on others to just prove your worth. Give you a sense of self-worth about yourself. Give you a sense of feeling good about yourself. And, all that you have to give. Like, basing your worth through the eyes of others. Like, feeling like you have to, Saturn and Scorpio earn your worth through the eyes of others and feeling worthy. And there's this belief that you are only worthy based off of how the outside world sees you. And that is so not true. That is so not true. Like, you are learning to see worth on an internal level. You're learning to see worth that is, self-worth is not based out there, it is inside you already. So, those with this placement can be very, very giving, generous. They like to share their resources with open heartedness. They have just a generosity of spirit, just a compassion about money. And I do believe that this placement will do whatever they can to make things free. Like, I am telling you right now, you will never see me monetize my channel. I will not monetize my channel. Okay, I don't want ads in my videos. I don't want it to become just a big thing. I want it to be, fun and entertaining. Like, maybe I will someday. I don't know. I made a whole video about monetization back in February. I mean, maybe I will, to the point that I was making. I mean, I said I wouldn't, but at this point in my life, I'm not too sure about that. So, it's like, what do you love? Getting really, really clear on what you love. Like, the thing that I will say for you to work on is getting clear on your values and getting clear on what you love and getting clear what you want to do, so that your soul is aligned with that mission and you're clear on what you want to do, and you're into this where you're making money out of it and it feels right. Not, like this placement, definitely not putting themselves in situations with earning money that does not feel true for them. Definitely not. Definitely not. No, not at all. That is what I want to say to that kind of thing like that. So they just don't want to deal with the mundane, practical, harsh realities of life, the money. I have this placement. I just do not want to deal with that stuff. I just, again, makes me really, really uncomfortable. So they like to share their resources. They're very, very open-hearted. They like to make things free. Like, they can do anything like I can. Like, I want to make things as free as possible with, what I can. All my videos I produce now are free. My Real Me podcast is free. You don't have to pay to see me be my authentic self. This video, which I put so much hard work and time into, is free. I could pay it because of how much I put into these videos, but I don't. I don't do that. I don't do that. Why don't we just do things out of the goodness of our hearts? Like not needing money. Well, we were conditioned and trained to like needing money and all that. Well, it's just something. I mean, you could ask yourself that question, like, why don't we do things out of the goodness of our hearts and not, for a price tag without, money or whatever. That's the whole conversation there. Okay. So, it is okay not to want to deal with the harsh realities of money. Okay, it's okay. You're allowed to feel like you don't want to deal with the money. You're absolutely allowed to feel that way. And this is tough for me because this is an ethical thing for me right now. Try to say this in a way that's close to what I believe in as possible. You don't have to do it all on your own. You do not have to be in charge of your finances and have the whole weight of your shoulders on your own with the whole budget and income. You can have help. Compassionate people that can help you manage your money. That's one thing. And managing your money and doing all this, and it will be easier for you to attend to the kind of things about money that you don't want to deal with if you focus on putting yourself in a position or job that is aligned with your spiritual ideals. I think that then you'll be more inclined to deal with all these things. Maybe not the financial troubles of it. I didn't want to go there. But I mean, it's very, very tough for me to say this and find a way to, phrase this, but there is this need. I'm just going to be blunt and say it, I mean, I can't go around it. There's this thing where and I think this goes back to not being clear on your values, hoping things will just work out. without taking action. Like, the action that you're going to take is something aligned with your spiritual ideal. That's the action that you're going to take with money. That's the action. Don't you want all those fantasies of money to come true? Well, you need to bring your expectations down into reality, and you need to focus on what you want to do and what you love to do and what your soul is calling you to do, and put yourself in that direction. And you know, what am I saying here? There is an empowerment feeling that you get when you are in control of your own money, when you are in charge of your own money, for something that you want. Like, I'm in this job that is aligned with my values that I want, and I am, that is to my soul, that is to my passion, and, you're making the money, and you feel empowered to make that money because it's coming out of something that you genuinely enjoy doing. That you genuinely enjoy doing. This conversation is really serious for me right now because, without going too much into it, I will just say here that, my work situation is not very good right now because, my hours are cut and I'm not making as much money as I used to. And the job is very, very, mundane. You stock things on the shelves or, whatever. And, but the people are very, very nice. The job felt right, and so I just have to go with that. Someday I will be living a life where I am doing what I absolutely love and making money for, and that is the only light at the end of the tunnel with all this stuff is living a life where getting past the limitations and the boundaries of reality, of how harsh this reality is with money, and choosing to see the light, choosing to put it in a more positive light, choosing to head towards the light with it. And, put all my eggs in the basket of doing what I love and earning money because of that. So, okay. Now, there may also be difficulties with, setting financial goals and maintaining a stable income. That may be very, very hard. Again, kind of the same thing applies to this, and just, I think we need to be conditioned in a different way as society about money. We've got to be conditioned a different way because I was conditioned into this whole serious thing about money. Like, it's a big thing and it's a serious thing. You have to do all this. Like, if we were conditioned to look at the spiritual aspect of it and the self-worth aspect of it, then I think that we would, feel better about ourselves with money. This placement is about rewiring the conditioning, finding money that works true for you, and understanding the true spiritual value. The spiritual value of financial goals of maintaining a stable income. What is the spiritual meaning behind this? How is this beneficial to me in my life? And how is, dealing with the realities of finances spiritual? Like, how is it spiritual? Like what is the spiritual tie-in to that? That's what I want to know. That's what my soul is like on a quest for in this lifetime. So, all right. So, I've talked about all of that. So, there may be unrealistic expectations around material security, needing to have all this, expecting yourself to have all these things, all these, big things, possessions or whatever. On the other side of the coin, you may have an unrealistic expectations of it, or when you do agree with money, you just want all this money. You just suddenly turn from one side to another side and then wanting all this money. Because it's that self-worth feeling. Well, trying to think how I can say this. There is something spiritual about gratitude for the money that you already gain. The more money that you have cannot buy you happiness. It is an inner state of being. And so if you can lean into gratitude with how much, you make already, and not seeing the scarcity of it and the lack of it, but seeing the bounty of it. Seeing the bounty. Well, you have to ask yourself, what is more important for you? Making a lot of money or being in a job that's, of a spiritual ideal? Or you can be okay with the money that you're going to make in this spiritual goal that feels aligned with your soul. I think for this placement, it is more important to be in a spiritually aligned position than to be in something that is not aligned, but then it's just for the money. This placement can go either one of two ways. Like either you just really, really want it and you'll do anything for it, or you just, are resistant to it. Like you just get brainwashed into just, I want more money, I want more money, I want more money. Like that's just the society. It's just this brainwash into feeling like it's okay. So, and I will not be brainwashed or go on the side of or conditioned into something that I know is not true for me and my values, unless it is for my, highest spiritual good. Then I will be on the side of it. Then I will be with it. If it's for my highest good, then yes. But if it's just for the logical, you have to do the daily grind, and this is how you can survive in the world, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No. 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 So, somebody has to walk with these people very, very gently through this. Very, very gently, very, very compassionately. Not just draw them a pet rock and say, make the connection, but it's shallow, it's meaningless. They have to understand the person very, very well, and they have to have a conversation with them. Like, actually sit down and talk with them about this. Not just give them just a flat-out answer like you're drawing a pet rock. That's good, but you didn't really do anything. You might as well have not done that at all. Like, sit down and have a conversation with these people about like, redefining your views around money and redefining your definition around money is what this placement comes down to. Redefining these things. And sitting down with somebody and talking about money. Talking about all this money. In a way that you're like, okay, you know what? I was resistant to it before, but now I get it. and I can see where you're coming from. And I'm willing to do things that are true for me, that give me the money, because now I can see the value of it. But growing up, I did not see the point and the value of money. I'm just starting to see it a little bit. But I want to see the light more. I feel like I'm only seeing just a sliver of the light. I want to see the whole light. I want to see the whole sun shining. So I'm beginning to see a little bit. The wheels just started to turn. The ball started to get rolling, but I'm just not there yet. So another thing is groundedness and realism about your self-esteem. Okay, so this point, having self-esteem is very, very important with this placement. Like feeling good about yourself and being realistic and being honest with yourself about how you feel and feeling good in a way that's true for you. That is also tied to who you are as a soul living a human experience. That is not just up in your head, fantasies deluding yourself, but as a soul living in a human body. Because that's who you are, is a soul living in a human body. So, when I look at this, I'm like, no. The only way that you're going to want to get practical about your money and your spending, creating a budget, is by understanding the value of these things, understanding the spiritual, real meaning of why these things are important. Not in a way that's like, oh, because it helps the bank out with these kind of things. It helps them, it helps them. It helps the bank with doing money for others. Oh my gosh, this is another point that I want to bring up. Doing money for others. No. I am so resistant to money already. I do not need to do money or do things related to money for others. I am focused on myself and my own sense of spiritual self-worth. That's what I'm concerned about. So the only way that you're going to be able to, spend, create a budget, and track spending is by not knowing the reason of, the technical reasons, like the bank needs to put the thing in the, like, all the jargon of money, like this whole jargon of money. I just want to tune out of it. Every time I hear it, it's like, when is this going to be over? When are you going to, stop talking? I don't want to hear all the noise. I don't need to hear all the noise. I don't want to hear about all this stuff. Please, spare me the details. I don't care. The only way really is for somebody to sit down and explain to you the real spiritual reason behind it. And then maybe you'll see the light. I think that people with this placement do not see money with clarity, do not see the light. With either way that you fall on the spectrum, you do not see the light of clarity with this. In this life, you're learning to see the light of clarity with money. So, the next thing is, are your values grounded in reality? Are they real things that you can actually achieve in your life? Or are they just up in your head fantasies that just can't get materialized? Because wouldn't it be great to just touch and taste and see all the things that, like, all the visions and all the things that you're fantasizing about. Like, wouldn't it be great if that were the case? As I've said before, you can pursue artistic and, goals and monetize them. This life is about having self-worth free from external validation. Okay, free from everybody else's validation. And now, things you can do with this is affirmations. Like money affirmations. I am wealthy. I am, like money affirmations. Money, understanding the value of money, understanding how important it is. Like practice it. Well, beyond that, practices that help you gain a better sense of self-worth. Journaling, for example, is really, really great practice with that. So building your sense of self-worth with that is very, very, important. And so, not overgiving to others. And this is the thing. This is the highest expression of this placement. Is to bring the spiritual to the material. Is to understand the spiritual value of self-worth and the spiritual value of your possessions and your resources and money. I think I've kind of forgotten about that in this podcast. Understanding that and bringing that to the material. Like with that understanding, now you are operating in the material world, not in a left brain way where you're like, just a soldier, like going through the motions of life, doing what everybody else is doing and doing what you're expected to do by society. Like, no. You understand it from a spiritual place, and you are approaching your life and how you earn money in a way that is spiritually aligned with your ideas and values, in a way that is spiritually, true for you. So yeah, that's what it's about, really. So that is my whole discussion on this placement. It goes... This is deeper than just a placement. This, what I used to do is just, here are the traits of the placement, and this is what it is. I go deeper than that now. I bring in insights. I bring in all the stuff that I never had before. Instead of just tell you, this is what the placement is about, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, no, I go deeper than that now. So, maybe I will come on and do another version of the videos I filmed on, like the sun through the signs or moon through the signs, or something like that, where I'm going deeper. I hope that you found some value from this. Get it, value, value from this podcast. And if you like this, share this, and do all the things, of course. And tune in for the next episode of the Basins to Google podcast coming up whenever I get around to filming it, or next week when I do the weekly astrology video for next week. So anyway, bye for now, everybody.